protecting your mind. There ain't no reason for the fantasize. No moments human, that's all realize.
All right, everybody, welcome to the Comments for the Peanut Gallery podcast. I'm your host, Jordan Kurtz. I'm here right now with my man, Nate Smith. How you doing, man?
Good, man. I'm chilling. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, man. Thank you very much for taking the time. You're fresh off a big win this last weekend, so congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Took a lot of time and hard work up in that. Came on a short week notice and came out with the result that I expected and going to continue to expect out of myself. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, you're at the right place to continue that trajectory of success. Real quick, just so the people out there listening can follow you and see what's going on, with your career going forward. Where can people follow you online?
Oh man! All right, so you gotta work with me on these social media accounts, but I do have an Instagram, a Twitter, and a Facebook. My Instagram handle is thesavage125. As well, you got the Savage King 125. See, that's why I said just bear with me. I'm terrible at this. But the Savage King 125 for Instagram. Twitter is Nate the Savage Smith, capital S and number 1. That's my Twitter handle. Then Facebook is Nate the Savage Smith Fight fan page.
Awesome, man. So I also see you got your Terphouse gear on.
Oh yeah.
Rep by Terphouse or sponsored by Terphouse.
Yes, I am. Shout out to Terphouse.
Yes, sir.
Shout out to the Dark Side Uranium Agency, one of the best agencies out there that's been taking care of me. Jacob and Jason, I'll let you guys. Rush Jones Law, I mean, man, appreciate you too, bud. And, teammates out here at Factory X, we just get it done. X on the chest.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So you've had a interesting path getting here to the MMA point. You've gone the Greco path.
Yeah.
So why don't you tell us a little bit? Just give us some background about you, man. Let the people know more about the Savage.
Oh man. Well, I'm originally from Chicago, West Side of Chicago, L-Town, if you know what that is. But wrestled my entire life. Football was the original sport. Kind of got interested in mixed martial arts when I seen a flyer. I want to say beginning my freshman year in high school, and conveniently, after wrestling my entire career, never won a state title. Always made it to state, but never placed. But I won more national titles I can count on my fingers, as well national champion Greco-Roman. And as well, I got wrestled international level, Greco-Roman. Been trained there at the OTC before. As well in college, Iowa Central. Where Kobe Covington, John Jones, Cain Velasquez came from. My uncle Carrington Banks as well. My uncle that fights for Bellator, and then now including myself coming out that dominant school. Even though it's a JUCO, it's a Division I school, hands down. So shout out to Iowa Central. Luke Moffitt, I love you. Don't yell at me for this. But yeah, man, I come off a predominantly dominant wrestling background. I just wrestled my entire life. Once I got into fighting, let's say 9 years ago. Just kind of took off on itself. I was just seeing how I'm not gonna really make any funds from wrestling. And during that time, they were trying to take out wrestling out the Olympics.
Okay.
So that was kind of disturbing too, But hey, still around, so I appreciate that. And fighting, yeah, man, it was just another aggressive sport for me to dominate. Where two gladiators, two warriors step inside, a cage or arena and handle it out man.
Oh yeah, definitely, man. So with the Olympic side of things, how far or to what what did you compete at the Olympic level?
Junior Olympics, it was Greco-Roman. and I got all the way up into Europe with that. That's why I kind of have my Olympic rings tattooed on me. And college wise, you know, I was a true freshman. And alongside with the next following year, we were national champions, national team champions at Iowa Central. So I'm really appreciative just from those type of aspects of things.
Okay. And forgive me if I missed this. If you said it right, what age did you start wrestling?
4 years old.
4 years old. Okay.
Yeah. It was just a time where my mom, wanted to because I was like a little ball of energy. I couldn't stop moving.
Mm-hmm.
So she was like, okay, since you don't want to sit down, spanking wasn't helping. So she's like, I'm gonna put you in here. And yeah, it was just, where parents just get together, let the kids roam around while they, gossip, talk, whatever, do their thing. And then what made me serious about it was I started seeing the bigger kids in the far corner going at it
Okay.
and actually trying to do the moves that were being shown. And I was like, I wonder if I can do that or apply that, to myself. I think I can do it. I can keep up with the big kids. And ever since then, dude, I was just want to be seeing the next person that's better than me. I want to be better than them. And that's still how I see it. Anyone that I think or consider that's better than me, I'm pretty sure it's not gonna take long for me to catch up. It's not gonna take long. I'm a sponge.
I mean, you kind of, you definitely still keep that attitude right now because when we were talking about, you have another very big teammate here at Factory X who just made some huge waves beating Vulcan Ozdemir.
Oh,
But shout out to Lionheart Anthony Smith.
my boy, Lionheart, I love you, bud. I love you sometimes. Depends on the day when you're not beating me up. It's okay. It's okay. It's all right. We just had to spit. You know what? I'm just gonna keep that to myself. I'm just gonna shut up.
So how far back do you and Anthony go back?
Man, I met Anthony a few years back out in Omaha. I was training out there in Skywalker 101, shout out to Danny Molina. Helping me perfect my craft. And I was told that he was a UFC fighter. And I remember him because I got invited out by Josh Neer when I was still living out in Iowa. When him and Neer fought on Victory for the second time. And, Anthony put him out with elbows.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, I made that transition from Iowa to Omaha, and then over there with Dan Molina. That's when I met Anthony, and then Scott Morton, and it kind of took off from there. Our friendship kind of just grew from there because I think he kind of realized that I was that kid that was, trying to take it up a notch in his career or, trying to actually do something, not be, 99 or 90% in when you want to be 100% in,
Yeah,
so kind of took me underneath his wing and been leading me the right way, beating me up alongside Scott Morton. Both just mean, dude, just mean. My blue belt testing sucked. I was like screaming. They were not letting me have no room to breathe. Like I was in pure survival mode.
Oh, I can imagine.
Oh God, it sucked. It sucked.
Because I mean, off time, outside of camp, what are you walking around at?
Oh man, the highest I ever reached was 160, and I fight at 25. So when I'm in good training, good walk around weight, 45, 50. That's the most. I'm just doing that. But when I'm not doing nothing, dude, that's 160, just flat, just pure fat. I'm a Chicago kid. We love our city food, Portillo's. Oh God.
But
I'm hungry now.
in direct comparison though, that way, just talking, you mentioned not having any room to breathe. I mean, that's giving up a lot of ground right there because as Anthony's probably walking around 215, 220, somewhere around in there. That's even if say you're at your biggest at 160,
Right.
and even if he's at fight weight at 205, that's still That's a lot of weight that you give
Say,
up.
but look, here's the thing though, in in the world of jiu-jitsu, as far as self-defense wise, out there on the street, size does not matter. They don't care how big or how small you are. You're still gonna get attacked by certain people. It don't matter what size. And even beyond your weight, I can weigh $115 and still face somebody for 200, 300 pounds. And I still gotta deal with it.
Yep.
Jiu-jitsu teaches you that. In the gi, it teaches you that. Not only from your hand position, your defense, your offense, how to get away, how to separate, how to attack, how to put out your opponent, how to disable your opponent, and things of that nature. It's all more a self-defense tactic. So when Anthony, big giant Goliath self, comes on top of me, I have to, really focus, be technical, and he's not gonna let up on me because I'm small.
Mhm.
Again, it's very easy for me to catch on, and he's always gonna make sure I try to continue to stay on the right path and continue to grow. And I'm gonna apply as much pressure on him and just as much as he applies on me. So, end of the day, he's been on me, and I appreciate him for that.
That's awesome. Well, so with jujitsu, wrestling obviously being your primary background, did you do jujitsu at all growing up, or was it more so once you kind of started to transition toward MMA that you started with that path?
No, actually, it was like from football to wrestling, right? And playing in Park District, wrestling in Park District, and with a club, a little wrestling club. But judo.
Okay.
Judo and Muay Thai. I always watched a bunch of old martial art films. There's a bunch of Muay Thai films, and I seen a couple of judo films too. I was so interested, dude. I was like, I can do that. And so I was like that little athletic kid that kept constantly flipping around and all over the place. So I was like, I can do that. And I don't know what made. I think it's just from football itself and wrestling, I was just doing much better than that, and I thought I wasn't gonna get down really into that.
Mhm.
And I was like, totally just said forget it. Walked away from that game. I just quit. But the moves and the technique stayed with me.
Gotcha.
And I think it was kind of enhanced that hint of when I seen the flyer for training wise. It was learning MMA, so I was just, yeah, man. It kind of started off from there. From two martial arts styles I didn't take seriously to now what I take serious.
Yeah.
So
So what's the most rewarding part of your journey as a mixed martial artist so far?
man, I will honestly say nothing is gonna beat the most joyful moment. It's just my daughter actually.
Okay.
And she's 3 years old. Like I feel like my career took a phenomenal jump and drive when she first got on this earth.
Okay.
So honestly, at the very beginning, I wasn't taking it serious. Even though I was winning, I was dominating, doing certain things, but I wasn't taking it serious. And then I was like, you know what? I'm really actually good at this. I should actually take this up as a career. Why not? And then it's like, boom, you have a child. Cool. You got responsibilities. You got things to take care of. I'm the oldest out of 7, so I know how it is. So I was just like, all right, time to, put on the big boy pants and settle down and start growing and continue to grow, never settle. And I have never settled, and I still haven't. And that's what kind of put me in the position I am today. So shout out to my daughter, Adeline. I love you, baby girl.
Very nice, man. So, growing up the oldest out of 7 out of West Side Chicago, tell us a little bit more about, what was that like? What was it, what was the environment growing up in Chicago?
It's a love-hate relationship, man. The difficulty of, being young back around that time, it was showing that you wasn't gonna make it past the age of 12 or 11. To see beyond that age, you'll die before that. Like that was like proven fact. If you go back towards the early '90s and not the early '90s, sorry, mid '90s to the early 2000s, it was terrible, man. Segregated. I mean, you got people split in half all across the city. You know, school districts don't get the same, education treatment. Everybody, looking down upon you because of your skin complexion. I mean, man, it was, and it's also not just in your environment. It's also started at home too, with a, nature and nurture type of deal. It's in their environment and it's at home. So it's kind of rare for people to get out of it, like myself, and grow from that. Where you got so many, closed-minded or caged up because they made the wrong mistakes and now they can't go back from it, which jeopardized a lot for them. And then you in the city that really don't like you, so it's a lot you have to overcome. And I did all of that. I mean, the looks I get in places I never supposed to be at wrestling wise, the things I had to deal with before. I mean, man, it'll sound like a comic book strip if I explain it. But I'm just glad I got out the neighborhood. I still love where I come from, no matter what, because just the city is basically what raised me alongside with my family. I mean, ain't nothing gonna take away from that, period. But at the end of the day, something gotta change. And, shout out Chance the Rapper. He's the only one that actually trying to make a change. And I'm trying to do the same, trying to put my city on the map, man, a little bit in a positive way.
Oh yeah, definitely. So what I mean, obviously, then is there in terms of the violence, a lot of gun violence right directly within your neighborhood, or like was that? Because I mean, obviously you see all of that through the news, but you always for me being, I've never been to Chicago, so I know that there's naturally there's going to be places that are bad, there's going to be places that aren't so bad,
Right.
but by the way that you see the share of news or headlines, it makes it seem like Chicago's a war zone.
Yeah. But to the extent Chicago is a war zone, I'm not gonna fake the funk here. It is, because at the end of the day, shit, people be out here, and they make their mistakes. They still pay for it after they already paid their dues in time, and when they're trying to correct themselves. So it's the system itself is not helping at all. It's just a big cycle. One big circle is going right out the other. I did this crime. I do my time. Now I'm thinking, okay, now I can have a fresh start. I can get a job, start earning some decent, honest living. And I can't do that because I have this background for this crime I wrote. I'm paying for it again. So I'm paying for it twice. Now I don't have no way to feed my family, no way to feed myself or take care of anyone else. What makes you think I'm about to not to go back to the thing I originally did?
Mm-hmm.
It's one big cycle. If I get caught again, this time I'm just trying I'm going to be more careful than I was last time. And it's a continuation. And then as far as the violence, the media don't help anything. They just, keep constantly shining light on the negativity. There's so much positivity going on from the west side, south side, north side, east side of Chicago. Like, it's so much, but the media only wants to shine light on the negative parts. Be like, oh, this kid died today, or this family died today, and this happened, or this happened. There's not one single thing that be positive. And I'm calling it like it is. I really don't care if I get any backlash from this. I'm calling it like it is. The media, Fox News, do not do anything but post negativity, point blank, period. And that's how I feel. I always seen that. I've constantly seen that. I am that kid that got harassed from a cop before, just standing out in front of my house, on the west side of Chicago, right off Latrobe and Thomas, right over there. And the cop had the audacity to tell me this. I guarantee this ain't your first time, is it? First encounter with the police.
Terrible.
Right?
That's terrible, man. Like, because then even within there's got to be a certain level of incurred you know, and I don't want this to sound the wrong way, but there has to be a certain level of incurred mental illness that goes on within a community in that sense of the sense of like PTSD. Like you're
Yeah.
seeing people that are, you know, are getting shot down and gunned down right there in your neighborhood or in your streets, and there's people that or there's just constant, you know, strife, constant things that are going terribly wrong right in front of you. That's the same difference as someone who's going off and doing a tour.
Yeah.
You know, as far as psychologically,
And
like that there's direct parallels right there.
man, it's sad too, cause man, out here I get the chance to actually breathe, move around. You know, I'm still aware of my surroundings by all means, but I don't have to look over my shoulder every 15 seconds, every 10 seconds. Because you don't know what, don't matter where you at, you don't know what can happen.
Mm-hmm.
And to be in Chicago, you so uneasy and still trying to be happy at the same time. It's a very, very stressful on the mindset, you know, the mentality of kids, adults, you know, even the elderly, man. It's sad and it breaks everybody's hearts. I mean, you got the young kids, you know, looking at the adults, saying, "I wonder what's stressing them out, what's making, you know, worrying about them." So now it's stressing them,
Mm-hmm.
and then you know they're starting to realize what's going on in their environment. Parents are already upset and depressed about it because they're in that environment, trying to figure out how to get out of it, and whatever is keeping them there is not making them happy either. Then you got the elderly looking upon the adults, saying like, where did they go wrong in teaching their kids how to handle their children, how to get them out that problem, and now they taking fault for it. I feel like that's my fault. I feel like if I would have said this to my kid, you know, they wouldn't be, you know, dealing with this with their children right now, so on and so forth. So, man, it's hurt. It really is, man. And every second, I used to have to look over my shoulder. Don't get me wrong, I just don't let my guard down. I still take a random peek over my shoulder here and there, but out there, man, it's ridiculous. Like, unless you that comfortable around that neighborhood, which you shouldn't be, no matter even if you grew up in there,
Mm-hmm.
you gotta always keep your eyes on the shoulder. You gotta look up, man. You gotta keep your eyes up.
Do you think that having to have such a heightened level of awareness all the time, you know, and having that additional stress that bleeds over into other factors of life? Like, you know, you're always so much on the edge. You're always in such a fight or flight type of mode, just surviving, just existing. How much does that affect everyday life?
Oh man, it affects a lot of things. Some things may be funny, like loud sounds. I honestly, it can be like a actual, you know, gunshot, and I'll still be calm, cool, collected.
My apologies, people. We had some brief technical difficulties going on here, but we've got it all figured out and straightened up for you. But so yeah, so you were mentioning, you know, just about you know about life in Chicago.
Yeah, like sounds, like you know, being outside of it, dude. It can be from a car, you know, making loud sounds or anything of that nature. Instantly, I'm thinking I'm about to run. I'm not gonna even look back. I see multiple exit ways. It's bad where you can instantly map out your survival path to not get shot and get so comfortable with hearing the sounds where you can actually hear an actual gunshot and it doesn't bother you. Everybody else around you freak out, but you're still probably standing tall or you're ducking like a smart human being is supposed to do. But constantly walking, I mean, man, it's stressful on the mind. It does kind of put that PTSD on it, you know.
Well, so then, kind of with that, you know, you're leading on with there's a certain level of desensitization to the violence, to the sounds, to that sort of element. Now that it's gone on for a couple of generations now at this point, do you feel like it's something that like kids who are growing up inside the walls of that city, if you will, that they just think that that's status quo, that's all there is, because that's all that they know. So they don't know any different to try to be better from the ground up.
Sadly, yes. Sadly, yes. I know too many that had, dreams of getting out the city or doing something themselves to bring it back to the city, to give back to the community that brought them up, where falling in the hole. I mean, life itself takes its course, in a positive and negative way, and it just don't happen that way sometimes. Sadly, yeah, that happens.
And that really is a sad thing in that sense, because I'm sure you had a lot of a lot of people that you grew up with that it seems like you hear the story all across the board in a lot of inner city environments. There was a lot of people that could have made it out. It could have been some of that were some of the best athletes, best physical specimens in that regard that you ever came across, but just getting caught up in something that may have happened in the neighborhood, whether by your own account, by someone else's, whatever. Just get caught in the wash too many times.
Yeah, man. You got family out there, and that's all you know, and that's the only place where your family, lives nowhere else, and you gonna stay close as home as possible, where you can lean on for help. And I counted down the days till I was 18. When I graduated, I said I was gone. No, I was not coming back. Only time I come back is to visit, but never stay. Mm.
So ever since you graduated high school, you haven't lived it. You've been out ever since.
I've been out ever since.
Gotcha. Would you ever go back?
Sometimes I think about that. I want to say yeah, but the only way for that to happen if I buy like a nice little condo downtown where I can live at. Probably be my second little retirement place. I would say yeah, but other than that, no.
Wouldn't be a place where you'd want to settle down, raise family, anything like that, though.
I wouldn't mind settling down there, even raising family. It just at this point in time, I'm not gonna put my family in danger whatsoever.
Yeah.
Then my family that's already there, that's in constant danger, and they have to, stay on their toes. And I just don't want that stress on nobody. No one in the city of Chicago should be feeling like that. Period. So it's just a matter when things gets in control and taken care of. That's all that.
Yeah. But so with your junior college experience, busy, it cracks me up.
Right.
Is he coming in?
No, I think he just stopped. Just walked away.
He's crack up.
Right.
But so with your JUCO experience, how would what was that like? I mean, having all of these stars, of who's who coming from out there. What were they back in the room with you guys a lot? How was that?
No, not really. Other than my uncle, that's about it. Because it's just a matter. I don't know. It's just something about Iowa Central, man. It just produced freaks of nature in the sport of wrestling, whereas
Iowa, period, man.
hey, I'm an Illinois kid, so shout out to Team Illinois. All right, I'm the OG. I'm one of the OGs. Got my brick in the wall already on that one. But yeah, man, it's that style, man. It's just something, that Iowa style. Being disciplined, being responsible, handling your business outside and inside the room. And taking action and not waiting. Take what's yours, get what's earned. If you feel like you earned it, go out there and get it. If you can't get it, you better figure out a way to get it. Like, no exceptions, no excuses. Get it done. And that's been my mentality, wrestling from high school, from Austin High School in Oak Park Real Forest. Shout out to OPRF, shout out to Austin. Putting that mentality, like, stick with the blueprint. That's what my coach Mike Powell used to tell me a lot. Like, you he can give us the blueprint,
Mhm.
give us the whole entire map on becoming, you know, a state champion, national champion, so on and so forth. You know, even just being a man of valor, you know, things of that nature, you know. He's like, we can give you the blueprint, but it's up to you on you sticking with the blueprint. And then once you end up reaching those, you know, those type of levels, you know, 95%, 95% is, is God giving you his, his strength and abilities and attributes into you, and it's up to you to utilize that 5%. So are you gonna be fully in as much as you believe it?
Mhm.
So, man, I'm a sucker. So I believed it. I've still stuck with the blueprint. I'm still sticking with the blueprint, and just me how I am as a fighter, as who I am now, makes me one of the most dangerous individuals in the game. Hands down, because it's hard for people to figure me out, even though they can expect something coming. It's still not going to stop me. You're still not going to stop me. You're still not finna stop my ankle. You still not finna stop me from doing what I want to do upon you. Like, I'm gonna do what I'm supposed to do. I'm not finna change up any style for anybody. I don't care who you are, whatever specialist you are. It is what it is. If we get down there, we get down there.
Where do you feel like your stand-up game is at right now at this point?
My stand-up game at this point is trying to scratch the surface of being, in its prime. And I have yet to even touch that. So, I mean,
I just asked that just simply because you're obviously so well proficient in the grappling side of things. It's just always interesting to hear where you sit with that side of the game.
man, I strike with the best from Muay Thai to boxing to kickboxing. I train with a bunch of them. Terrence Bud Crawford, that's one of them. I mean, that name speaks for itself.
Absolutely, best guy out there right now in boxing.
If you can't keep up with that man, you shouldn't be around. And then you got other cats too. So I mean, I've been around a lot of great strikers, a lot of great striking coaches, and even the ones I have now. I mean, man, I'm coming for everything, man. Just plain and simple. No matter where it takes me, no matter where the fight goes, I'm gonna be ready.
So how did you get here to Factory X? Was it through the connection with Anthony, or how was that? Is that what brought you here?
Yeah, through the connection, with Anthony and Danny Molina and Scott Morton. Scott Morton being me and Anthony's jiu-jitsu professor. So, I've been with them for so long, and it was just gonna be that matter of time for me, and I thought about it for so long, and I still, home is always gonna be home with me with Skywalker 101. It's always gonna be home. At the end of the day, I just knew it was just gonna be time for me to take a chance and continue to grow, to continue to grow and more in my career. And then came in Factory X, I already knew, I really liked the environment. And, it's just a matter of time before me and Mark, Coach Mark started, talking and getting things figured out, improving me, not changing me, So I like that so much, and I like the teammates that I have. It's nothing but elite prospects and UFC fighters, some of the top guys in the world. I mean, I see and train with here on a daily. So, I mean, why not? I consider myself one of the best. Why
Very
not?
high level dudes, all across the board, every weight class.
Every weight class, and I consider myself one of those guys in the flyweight division. Plain and simple. And I mean, if you feel otherwise, prove me wrong. I mean, hit up Jason House. We can settle that in. I mean, I don't care. I don't even care if I'll rematch people. Some people don't like to do that. I'm that guy that don't give a fuck.
I just want the smoke.
I want all the smoke, all of it. I'm not playing around with it, man. And that's what people gotta realize, that Nate Smith is here and he's not playing around. I am a true fighter. Don't get it wrong. I dress up nice. I show up for work, and that's exactly what it is. It's all business. I'm a very polite guy until people get disrespectful. You get disrespectful, then if you really think you're getting the mental aspect of things, keep your eyes on me. That's all I'm gonna say. Keep your eyes on me. Break eye contact. Mike Tyson said it best.
Oh yeah.
I'm just gonna leave it at that. If you don't know what I'm talking about, look it up.
I'll leave that there because that's one of my favorite clips of Mike Tyson talking right there. If you don't get chills when he starts telling you about like the psychology, then I don't know what to tell you. That's electric in that sense.
That's why I got my little Tyson slits on the side of my eyebrow. Like I said, I'm a very dangerous guy. Don't get it twisted. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm gonna give you my all. You give it your all. May the best man win.
So, what does 2019 look like for you?
Another year of domination, another year of growth, another year of positivity, a year where my boy Anthony might, go home with the strap. I mean, it's a lot of possibility. Hopefully, another change in organization for me. Because I'm ready, whenever you are, and he knows who I'm talking to. So,
understandable.
I'm just waiting.
With that being said, former, share the same alma mater with Bones, obviously, with your JUCO. How crazy is that it's such a small world that Anthony is going to be potentially the guy to knock him off the throne? Provided that he does show up to the Gus fight, he doesn't get suspended after he wins, so on and so forth. How does it feel like, Anthony has a chance to knock off arguably the greatest of all time.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, he should get that title shot next. There should not even be any sort of question that he gets nobody else but the winner of that fight.
Right. And honestly, how I feel about it is, one, they just gonna have to wait. I honestly don't care. I want, when Daniel Cormier get done with Derek Lewis, I want Cormier to give my boy Anthony a shot first, because at the end of the day, Jones been out. He was suspended. He just got out suspension. He had to fight his personal demons. That's cool, whatever. But at the same time, Gustafson hasn't been on the road like Anthony, knocking champions out back to back to back, and Anthony just took out the number 2 ranked guy in the world. So I really feel that Daniel Cormier should give my boy Anthony Smith a shot as soon as he get done with Derek Lewis, hands down. John Jones and Gustafson, they can battle it out. Whoever wins, they'll fight Anthony for the strap. Let Anthony get done with DC. That's how I feel.
With DC being at the heavyweight mark for so long now at this point, and probably getting a little bit comfortable, if you will.
He's been too comfortable.
do you think that it's going to be an extremely, or what do you think that he can get back to 205, especially now he's coming up on 40?
He can.
You think that
DC, that man ain't gonna miss weight. He shows up. He's gonna come in there with his A game. It'll be sad to say or otherwise, but Daniel Cormier is gonna come in there with his A game, and so will Anthony. I'm gonna be right behind him. I'm gonna have his back because I know he's coming with his A game. We're coming with it all. Anthony is not just fighting for himself, but he's fighting for his daughters. Fights for his family. That's why he's fighting for his coaches. He's fighting for his teammates, and we're right behind him, 100%. I'm gonna say that person. It's like a big brother to me. So I'm right behind that man, through hell and back, the war and all. Whoever wants it, let's get it.
That's awesome, man. We kind of started talking about this a little bit ago. What is your thoughts of where exactly, I guess, the 125 division for the UFC as a whole is hanging in the balance, it almost seems. You have Pettis, who made the announcement that he's going up to 35. Dana made the confirmation, as well as Henry Cejudo on the Joe Rogan podcast yesterday, that they are actively trying to make that fight at 35 with TJ.
Yeah.
With Mighty Mouse getting traded to one championship, that's 1 through 3 of the division that is now no longer in the division, or making moves otherwise. What do you think? Especially with the rumors out there that one might potentially be absorbing the 125s. What do you think of that?
I honestly believe the UFC is gonna keep their division because it's too many newcomers. I mean, a new wave of generation that just dominate all over globally. Not just within the U.S. I mean, it's just too many guys. Man, I mean, even though you still got Ray Borg, you still got these other guys, even some of the veterans are still there. And then who's to say some of the guys from bantamweight, the new wave of bantamweight guys want to drop down to 25, You looking at basically a brand new roster of flyweights coming in. And as well, like new faces, new marketing, and I honestly feel like, it will still stay. I don't think the UFC want to risk that type of amount of money. And if so, one championship might end up, if they take heat, they take over it. I mean, they gonna end up doing something with it. Probably something entirely different where the UFC didn't do. Who knows? But what I know is I'm with whoever. So, yeah.
Whoever's cutting that check, right?
Man, look, I'm with it because I'm not here to work. I'm not playing no games. I'm not all talk. I back it up. I'm marketable. I'm likable. And then at the end of the day, I get shit done. Period.
Okay. So with Mighty Mouse being traded over to one championship, one of the things that he mentioned was that he felt like he never really got his due or his credit in the UFC, which. I think he does to a certain extent kind of have a point because they never necessarily did a whole ton of marketing for him, but also at the same time, like, Mighty Mouse didn't sell a ton of fights, but I feel like in large part it was almost like the Askren phenomenon or something in that respect to where he was just so dominant, and during that tenure of his dominance that, maybe people thought people didn't want to tune in. I don't know. But for one reason or the other, he didn't sell a ton of fights.
Well,
but I also feel like, though, it could be something that could be very advantageous for him competition-wise going over to one, just because I almost feel like one in the 25s and the 35s are like the 55s here. Because just naturally over in Asia, the population isn't as big, in that Southeast Asia area around Singapore and all that region of the world. So that being said, if your average size is slightly smaller than what it is over here, well, then that would make sense that there's going to be that, I guess, concentration of talent that's in like the 45s and 55s here stateside. It's going to be a little bit lower on the on the weigh-in scale. Maybe a little. Like, do you follow that at all, or do you think that plays in?
Well,
like the density, I guess, would be the best word for it.
I would agree with you to half of the point of how it would play in just based off of what's been occurring lately and what's been shit going on. Because again, the flyweight division is still brand new. But at the same time, so is the UFC. It's still not that old either. But yet we see where we are now. And building itself, it takes time, man. It can't be a rush. And then as far as where it comes to, with DJ, I mean, he wasn't taking fights the way he should to they make him some money, man. I mean, at the end of the day, it's okay to, take fights, take smart fights. But sometimes, you don't have to give what the people want. If you trying to make some money, he was always a businessman. He always, never questioned, never argued about, anything other than the opponent. That's it. But at the same time, on both sides, it could have been done differently. It could have been done differently. See, if like somebody wanted me to fight somebody in bantamweight, okay. Is it marketable? Is it gonna make us money? All right, cool. Let's do this. I mean, I'm all with it. Because at the end of the day, I'm not gonna lose. Cause I don't care. And then I go right back to my original way and beat whoever the hell else that's gonna be in front of me. So I'm just letting it be known. I can kick your ass in 125. I can kick your ass in 135. So ain't no running away from me. So it's whatever. I don't care. I really don't.
Still undefeated.
Yep.
So I mean that's definitely backing it up right then and there.
Yeah, for sure, man. I just continuous growth. I never stay the same. I always grow. I mean, like I said, when people think they got me figured out, the looks on their faces speaks otherwise. Once I get done, beating on them for 15 minutes, or pulling them out. It's just plain and simple. Like, I'm just gonna dominate you and beat you for that entire time. I'm gonna put you out. I'm gonna do either or, whatever it takes me. Whatever it takes, I'm going to get it done. No matter what.
Definitely. So with you, obviously, I mean we've mentioned many a times at this point having the wrestling background that you do. Is that a very exciting move for you to have Ben Askren now in the UFC as a fan?
Man, yes.
Like, oh my God, I'm so excited to talk about Ben Askren in the UFC.
I was so hyped.
It's gonna keep this one rolling.
Oh man, I was so hyped. It doesn't make any sense. Once I even heard about the trade, I was like, what? When did we start doing this? Right?
Yeah.
I was like, all right, we're a delegation, except Ben Askren.
Right.
And trade for DJ. Like, yeah, we'll take Ben Askren. That dude is a monster, funky wrestler. I mean, the guy is just godly when it comes to his wrestling positions and scrambles, man. I mean, it's ridiculous. And over due time, he's been sticking up with the times of scrambling and how things works. It's not like he's out of the game. He's just never really shown his face into it. He shows up to the jiu-jitsu tournaments. He shows that in the cage. I mean, the record speaks for itself. 18-0. I mean, that's...
And he doesn't get hit. Like, aside from what was it the Santos fight? I can't. There was one fight where he got touched up a little bit.
He takes minimum damage.
Very, very minimal.
Like the man is a freak of nature, and I would love to see how that's gonna play. I think because he already got into it with Darren Till, so.
He fired shots at the entire welterweight division at that point.
He said we have to start having bum fights once a month. Jesus.
So whip their ass all one guy a month.
I was like, that's pretty fucking ballsy.
Oh yeah.
But leave it to him. So he's gonna back up what he talk. I mean, go ahead.
Well, I mean, not too many people know of Ben Askren. That's why it makes me I've been rallying for him to be able to come to the UFC for a long time, as have a ton of fans. But people want to talk about they say, or a lot of the internet feedback that I see from a lot of new fans are like, oh well, who's he beaten? He hasn't beaten. Well, do you not know who Lima is? Because Lima is an absolute killer. Lima is one of the absolute best welterweights in the world, and he starched him.
And that's the thing. It's because his face has not been out there. It's because he don't have that large publicity like he's supposed to, like it's expected, but it's not given to him. Especially on the stage that he wants it on, and everybody been denying him. And I mean, the man made it happen. He's been saying it for years, and now he's there. The man is ready to go whenever. He's just give him a name and a date and location. He's there. So, God, I'm really stoked. I want to see this shit.
Do you think that Till is do you think Till's his first dance partner?
I would love for that to happen. Honestly, that's a money maker right off the bat too. I mean, you got a striker versus a wrestler. I mean, it just, and then the wrestler is not afraid to strike, and the striker's not afraid to grapple. I mean, both guys are dominant in certain areas, man. That's it, and you got one just younger than the other. I mean, so let's, it's that the OG versus the youth. Basically, how it would be. That's why I see Askren as OG.
I think that's a terrible matchup for Till. Personally, I think that if Darren Till takes that matchup,
But if he gets it done,
if he does,
if he gets it done, then Till would end up, especially labeling himself as like not just a one-trick pony. He'll be one of them guys that's just,
Yeah.
like, mistakes happen, but let's see if it happens again type of guy.
I just see how because because Tyron Woodley and Askren, I mean, they've been teammates and training partners for a long, long time.
Yeah.
They're both very elite grapplers, and Tyron is elite, but Askren is a level above that. When you're talking levels in the game, that dude is already comes in and he's one of the top 3 grapplers on the entire UFC roster. If
Man
not
gets
the best.
respect from Dan Gable.
Yes.
I mean, that's Gable.
Yes, that's a god right then and there. So I mean, if Darren Till had trouble with Tyron in that respect, I just don't think that there's any way that Askren doesn't absolutely have his way with him. He'd be riding him like a bull.
True.
That's my only thought is that's not if I'm Till, I'm not taking a matchup with another wrestling specialist or with a guy that has that strong of a positioning dominance to his game.
Hey man, but if Till, truly stick with his words that he said before he took that loss, he doesn't give a fuck. He'll fight whoever, whenever. I mean, what do you have to lose other than adding another L to your record, or growth? You end up growing. You end up going to grow either way you go. You win, you end up growing. You just figured out how to, dominate a wrestler, a top wrestler, collegiate wrestler at that. And then that's what even from the loss, you take from like what little mistakes you could have, what adjustments you could have made. So you just got growth, man. I say fuck it, let's do it. I honestly don't give a fuck. I like to grow. I don't care. Growth is growth, man. You gonna grow. You don't become a black belt overnight. I mean,
I wish they would have gotten Colby. I wish that Colby wouldn't have been tied up with the Tyron fight, just because I think that would be.
Fight needs to happen. I'm tired of
Oh,
those two
man.
argue, man. That's annoying.
Yeah. Oh, I think that. God, I can't stand Colby. Colby is like.
Oh, I can't stand what the hell he said either.
Yeah, he's like a
He's
knockoff
a
version
guy, for
of
real.
Connor. You know what I mean?
That man. All I know is, Kobe, you need to take off that hat. Stop playing with me. Punch your ass in your throat. And that damn Donald Trump hat. I'm just saying. Just saying.
How much do you think he's spending on those suits?
Too much. Ain't no telling, man. The man is. He's trying to be like. I forgot the name of that wrestler. It's like a man's sex appeal. So I forgot. It was. I don't know, dude. It's kind of weird. Like American Steel sex appeal. Like he using that weak ass shit. I'm just like, bro, just stop.
Been cutting like corny promos with like C-grade strippers talking about having
Having a life and all that.
Like, man, like,
Bro,
I bet you that you paid those chicks in that video.
yeah,
You could have gone to anywhere out there and just said, "Hey, I'm a UFC fighter. Come out here to anybody else out there in Vegas where you cut that promo."
That's an attention whore. I don't need none of that. I'm letting you guys know I am not an attention whore. That is an attention whore. That's a true definition of an attention whore. Like that's just scream. Please pay attention to me. It's all on me. Focus on me. Just shut the fuck up. Nobody cares.
But unfortunately, you could argue for somebody like Colby that it's worked.
It works. It
works,
but he's going against Tyrone Woodley, man, and I think Woodley gonna put him out. That's just me. That's just
Would
me
he
saying
have even gotten to this point though? Had he not said
Run
some
his
of the
mouth?
shit that he did? Because I mean, he's not an
that.
exciting fighter to watch.
I can't say it wouldn't have. But at the same time, you gotta look at his skill attributes. Even from him using it, he still has the same skill attributes, and he's been winning.
Mm-hmm.
So
Or I guess I
can't
should say, would it have taken longer? Because he's still a young guy.
yeah, it would definitely would have taken longer. I mean, he would have had to build up to those fights like he have had to the point where he had now. But at the same time, it would have took a little bit longer. But running his mouth seems to be working. So I'm all for it. If it works for you, it works for you. Just don't talk shit to me. I'm not
He's
the
gone
guy.
full WWE heel route.
Yeah.
He's completely embraced that, with all the shit that he talks about Brazilians and all that sort of stuff.
Don't be a CM Punk. That's all I'm saying. Don't be a CM Punk, man. You're out of there because that shit don't work out for people. I don't like it. Just don't talk shit my way. I'm not the type of guy that likes to go back and forth on internet or any damn thing. I'm gonna come straight to your face and tell you how it is. I'm gonna beat your ass. Ain't nobody gonna save you. That cage you gonna lock up. The only person that can get in between us is a ref. And you lucky if they even splitting us or me even up letting them go on. Period. That's when people get real disrespectful. So I don't really talk shit. I say what I need to say. I'm gonna go beat the guy ass. I'm gonna go out there and get this win. That's simple. If you want to take it even further towards some disrespect, we can get disrespectful. I'm not the one. I'm from the hood. I'm from the hood. I'm not the one.
Totally can understand you there, my man. So as we just kind of wrap this thing up here, is there anything else you want to get out to the listeners, to the fans? Anything else you want to share to everybody before we cut this thing off?
Just keep up with me again on my social media accounts. The Savage King 125 on Instagram, Twitter Nate the Savage Smith, capital S, number 1, and then Nate the Savage Smith fight fan page on Facebook. We might be right back in action. I'm just waiting on the name. I'm not going to announce anything else other than that, but Savageville gonna be try to continue to make it 4-0 very soon, and hopefully we'll see something else. So just keep up with me.
Thank you very much for taking the time, man. I really do appreciate you coming on and just sharing a little bit more about your background and what it is that you have on the horizon, man. It's always nice to get to know you guys in this capacity. I'm Jordan Kurtz with comments from the Peanut Gallery. Want to throw a quick couple of shout outs on my half, on behalf of the Terphouse, as well as to Beyond Bridges, as well as Lion League Music. Thank you all for everything that you've done out there for the comments from the Peanut Gallery project. Want to throw a quick shout out to the rest of the comments from the Peanut Gallery team: Jordan Totoni, Yusuf Zalal, Daniel Carey, as well as Selena Rowland, Justin Osborne. Thank you guys for everything that you do to help support the brand as well. Also want to throw a shout out to El Guapo Chris Gutierrez as well.
El Guapo.
Thank you guys for listening. On the outro, we'll have Adios from Lion League Music. Thank you guys very much for being